Oh, explain server collapse. That actually is interesting. I guess I'll just dive in and get started. So first off, on a side note, I was out all weekend. I don't know if you can tell I'm like slightly sunburned. We had a big California party here for folks, kind of for our wedding, basically. Our real wedding will be in Poland at some point, but we had like a party for friends here in California. So yeah, I spent my weekend at a big Airbnb, getting sunburned and eating barbecue and stuff like that. Um, which is a wonderful time for a server problem to pop up, of course. So apologies, I kind of let the server fester for like 6 hours or whatever it was, but I was literally like on the road, so or driving, so I couldn't do much. Um, but basically, what happened was the legacy master server had kind of a meltdown. Let me see if I can show you. Like it wasn't anything I changed. It was just it was memcache. I'll show you legacy logs. So there's several layers to like the master servers. They're built on like App Engine, and one of the layers is this. It's called memcache or Redis, if you've ever heard of that. But basically, it's like a cache layer when the server's like pulling stuff out of the database, it'll stick it in this giant memory cache, and then all the different servers can like, because the master server is actually a bunch of different machines kind of sharing work. It's far too much for like a single machine to handle. So there's hundreds of requests coming in every second, and so there's like tons of these little instances that handle requests. And the memory cache layer is something they all share. It's like a little cache. And there was a weird issue where the memory cache on this thing, it basically ran out for a weird reason. So the memory cache is supposed to be set up so that like things store stuff in there, but then that stuff expires, or if it runs out of memory, then it kicks out old stuff. You know how caches are normally supposed to work. But there was some weird, I think it's a bug where like in Google's library. I don't think it's in my stuff, but I'm not sure. Where some stuff was getting marked as like not purgeable. So basically, every so often, I think it was actually like game high scores. Like when a game high score would go into the memory cache, it would be flagged as like this can never leave the cache. And so what was happening is over time, more and more of these little things were getting put into the cache that could never be taken out of the cache. And so eventually the cache basically just ran out of memory. It kicked out everything it could, but there was nothing left to kick out. So just everything started erroring, and basically the entire server just ground to a halt. I'll see if you can find it. Let's see. Let's go back 4 days ago. Can anyone spot where the problem was? So yes, obviously this big hole here is where everything. You can see like the cache hit ratio, because basically we're running out of space. It's usually 95, 94%. Most things looking up in the cache work pretty well. But over the course of about a day or two, yeah, it's sputtered to a halt. Because if I could zoom in on here, you could actually see. Oh yeah, you can see here like basically it had fewer and fewer things in the cache, because more and more of it was these game score sets which couldn't be evicted. So I wasn't even noticing this was happening, but this has been going on because it's been running for 30 days without rebooting or anything like that. So it's basically been slowly draining, slowly draining, slowly draining, and then boom, disaster. So anyway, yeah, I got that fixed, and I got a timer set up. So like I said, it seems to be a bug, but I have a timer set up, so it'll reboot this cache every 3 days now or something like that, which should cause that problem to never happen, I think. So yeah, it's just a weird little side effect of having or a weird little side effect of the recent like upgrade of the legacy server to like Python 3 and like the newer stuff. It seems like there's always a few lurking issues when those kind of things happen. So this was a very big one. But like I said, it should be fixed now. Cache should no longer exhaust itself. So yeah, so that's the first answer there. Burr, burr, burr. Oh my gosh, missed so much stuff here. So yeah, server collapse. Well, let me go through this list, and then yeah, feel free. Everyone can bring up stuff we want to talk about. Like I said, I've been a little. I know I'm oftentimes kind of in my own little bubble, but even more so this week, just because like the last week has been, like wedding party stuff and all that. We did have really fun. Maybe I'll show you a photo or two. Um, Here's me and Aga making shish kebabs. Very exciting. We rented this kind of ridiculous Airbnb just to have like a bunch of people there. It had a giant Iron Man statue, which was pretty awesome. So every always rent places with giant Iron Man statues. Yeah, my brother and his wife, and a palm tree, fun stuff. So anyway, good party time. But yeah, that's kind of why I've been less present. Ooh, this is super cool. One bachelor party with your modders. That's a good idea. We should do that. Where would we have a bachelor party? Like where is central? I feel like there's folks in India, there's folks in Poland, folks here. Like where is we need to find like where in the world is like the average of all those locations. Wait, you're not married yet? No, I am married. It's I'm technically married. I had an Elvis wedding in Vegas, but we've been like spreading this thing out just because like most of my friends are in California, most of my family is in Illinois, which is 2,000 miles from here. Most of August family is in Poland, which is many more miles from here. So we're having like 3 separate mini celebration things. So this was for the California friends, and then we'll have the actual like ceremony is in Poland. But we're legally married already though, so it's complicated. A possum bomb. Oh, that could be interesting. Players pretend to be dead. I thought you were gonna say it looks like an opossum or something like that. It's like that's kind of random. We do need the chicken bomb. That's on my to-do list. I want a chicken bomb. How big is your family? My immediate family is just me and my brother. I have a lot of cousins. Several of them actually came over for the party, even though we're having like a thing in Illinois for my family, just like a dinner. So they'll be having two two wedding celebrations. But this one was more just like an excuse to just have people hang out by the pool. Brr, brr, brr. Yeah, this is a good point. Talking about downloading stuff, I do plan to probably have either some sort of pop up or something. Still not 100% finalized. Once I get the UI in place, we'll see how it works. But I do want to make it so it's just not like downloading random stuff without asking you or whatever. I don't want to be filling people's phones up like without their permission. Roadmap. Oh no, I didn't even see like what's the applicable roadmap question here, but yeah. Oh my gosh, PR. I know. I'm so sorry about the PRs. I've been slacking. Like I said, this week has been wedding party-ish stuff. I also did a decent amount of work on the server, which is a fun topic. I guess we could get to next. Well, let me see if I'm through the. I'm almost caught up here. In chat, complaining about. I know that complaining about iOS release. I know. I can't blame them. I mean, I'm here in the U.S. and like iOS is like I think more than 50% of people here, so I can understand. Yeah, just try to get to 2.0 as fast as I can. I'm sorry to make people wait for a million years like this, but yeah, I was doing a lot of work this week too when I wasn't running around trying to do party planning stuff. Just like cleaning up Ballistica.net website stuff, basically just like tidying up the UI, learning a bunch of like CSS, figuring out, kind of nerding out a bit, just like figuring out how CSS works. So I was having some fun with it, just trying to tidy things into something that can be more like a responsive UI with kind of little cards and this and that. I saw there was an epic debate about people who didn't like the font or did like the font, so I haven't joined in there. I threw this little font in here. I like this font, but I also I was trying to learn how to set this stuff up so that we could make it themable. I was just having fun with some themes, like the light mode theme here is. Well, let me just switch to light mode for a moment. I was getting kind of dorky with just like old school skeuomorphic like shadows and highlights on buttons and stupid stuff like that. Um, I know that's not really in style in terms of web design right now, but I enjoy it, and I figure like for video game type stuff, you can get away with more weird. I mean, Bomb Squad itself has that look. It's like the real looking clay textures and this and that. But anyway, I do like this font for one weird reason, is that like I feel like if you look at the font, it looks almost pixelated. It has all these like weird angles. And so like if you zoom out, I feel like it looks almost like video gamey, like pixel art or something, but it's still mostly readable. So I don't know. It just looks kind of playful. But like I said, I'll hopefully at some point I can just have different options for themes. So if you want like the old one, you can have that. Just to see the comparison, here's I didn't update the legacy master server, so if we do this one, see this is the old look for all this stuff. It was just kind of simpler. It's Helvetica or Arial or whatever. So I don't know. It's fine. Font, everything was a little smaller, but not that any of this stuff matters too much. I was just having some fun. Hobo Sans. That would be interesting. I feel like I kind of want to like add a different font to Bomb Squad though. I feel like Hobo Sans is not the most readable at small sizes sometimes. I feel like other video games have better readable fonts. So I don't know. There's part of me that wants to add a different font to Bomb Squad, like just for small font sizes to make it more readable. Something similar though, like organic and clay looking. I don't want to, I want to keep that theme. But anyway, so yeah. So I was doing some of this website stuff just to, for all this upcoming asset package thing, getting the UI more and more in place. Yeah, I was just doing a lot of cleanup to be able to like put controls and stuff like this in here and have them not look ridiculously amateur. So there's this stuff for asset packages. Did a lot of work on like behind the scenes stuff for like the asset build system. So it's not ready to go yet, but I would be really surprised if I wasn't able to give you guys like a live demo, or at least, or even release it officially before next Coffee with Eric, because it is getting pretty close. But yeah, I love themes personally, so I'm kind of excited to theme the website at some point. That would be fun. I don't want to. I know it's like a waste of time and completely unnecessary, but I don't know. It's fun. Like for me, that's one of those things where I can just like turn my brain off and like start messing with color values and making fun little themes and adding like stupid little glows to the title text and stuff like that. So. So yeah, so this is the asset package stuff. I think I showed like an early version of this before, but basically what asset packages will be is, you can create a workspace. You can see there's a special type of workspace. You'll be able to define an assets v1 workspace by either filling out this workspace.toml file. There'll probably be a way to do it with the GUI, but for right now, it's just like if you do this, you'll get an assets v1 workspace. And then once you have like an assets workspace where you can drag all your JPEGs and PNGs and OBJ files or whatever in there, and then you can basically export that as an asset package. And so then to do that, you'll just do asset packages, create an asset package, like my ass, there we go, my ass, best assets ever. And then you point it at your assets workspace, hit apply to save it, and then publish a test version, and then this gives you, like, that is a usable asset package ID. So you'll see how that works later, but this is basically like a universal ID that if someone points at that asset package, they can access those assets. So my ass, sorry, that was just like my weird little inside joke with myself, is like for test asset packages, it would always just be something ass. But yeah, so yeah, here's basically the UI. You'll just be able to see like which versions you've published. There'll be something, you can publish test versions which will expire. Right now they expire really fast, but that's just because I'm testing. I'll probably make them expire in like a day, or I don't know, something reasonable where like you can iterate on them and they will expire in a bit, but then you can like mark some that you don't want to expire or something. So it'll be fun. We'll see how that all works out. What is this? Oh dear.
Right, I'll tell you what, you fat little cunt. You...
What did I just watch? No Tag seems like a bad person. Do a body show, Eric? What? I know it would be fun to. There's all those things like if there were more than 24 hours in the day, I'd love to post more stuff on YouTube or make like higher quality videos. I know the one thing I post is just this stuff. I don't even like edit it aside from the beginning and the end. I would definitely just need to like hire a team for that kind of stuff though. And I've talked about this before where it's like I kind of like keeping this very casual and not having to worry about making enough money to support a team, things like that. So maybe sometime. I do have things I do for fun, like waste time making themable website UIs. It has been, I mean, I consider myself very lucky or fortunate or whatever, where the game just gets organic downloads, like a good amount of organic downloads. So I don't know how much of that is luck or, ratings or whatever, or just, happening to be in the right place in the right time and Google, incorporated me into their algorithm somehow. But it is nice that a good amount of people play the game, and I don't have to spend bajillions of dollars on ads or anything like that. And it lets me just like I want to be able to focus on making the game, just keeping making the game better. And you kind of feel like, or I kind of feel like at some point, if you just keep making something better, people find their way to it, or So that's my theory anyway. At some point, maybe I could hire people and do ads or something or whatever, but. Plus, it's kind of nice. I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to have like a game that not everybody knows about. So it's a little, then you introduce it to your friends and they're like, whoa, that's cool. Why did I learn Python? There's a good question. I learned Python because back when I started writing Bomb Squad was almost my like weird little excuse to learn Python. Because back then I was just graduating from art school and I was, on the art side of things, but I also liked coding and whatnot, which I mostly did on my own spare time. But I wanted to get into visual effects, and which I wound up doing. I wound up at Pixar for 10 years doing on the visual effects team there. But Python is very big in the visual effects industry. It's very widely known or very widely used language for scripting 3D apps and this and that. So that was kind of my excuse. I wanted to learn Python just for that reason, but it wound up just being like a fun thing on its own for, writing the game and whatever. And now I love it. I just love using Python for like anything. It wasn't the first, for me, it wasn't the first language I learned. The first language I learned was, this makes me sound old now, is like Pascal. Has anyone played with Pascal or done anything with Pascal? That was back when I was in high school. The one programming class I took there was like in Pascal, Turbo Pascal on DOS. It was it was literally I think the year before they switched that class to C++, which would have been a lot more relevant. But Pascal, is not that different from like C. It just had some weird quirks and things. But I have not used it since that class. So I learned Pascal and then taught myself C, I think, C++. And then, at some point learned like Perl, Python, and various scripting languages and whatnot after that. I guess, I don't remember like why I named the penguin Pascal. Maybe it was because that was my first coding language. Or it just sounded like a good name for a penguin. But yeah, I do like Python because it is easy too. I mean, it's simple and elegant looking, but it's not like, it doesn't feel limited. I feel like you can do almost anything with Python. It's just not always necessarily fast. But I mentioned this before too, where I feel like that is a nice reason to have kind of the two layers in the game engine or in the engine, where it's like Python is kind of the elegant, simple one on top, and then for anything that you need to be like fast, there's C++ a little bit lower. So it seems like a nice tag team, Pascal isn't the same person who invented calculator. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know the history of Pascal, like where the language got its name. Yeah, I hate when places make you reset your password. I feel like 90% of people just add a 2 on the end or something, right? Or do you all, like, when you're asked to change your password, do you actually think of something completely new? Not that I'm not trying to like hack your accounts or anything. This is more just a generic question. It's like those things on Facebook and whatnot that pop up that are, I don't know how many of those are actually scams, but I remember at some point someone pointed out that, there's all these little things that say like repost like what your first first pet's name was and stuff, where it tries to turn it into a fun little game, but it's like, wait a minute, those are always like security questions. There could be something more to this. So having a different character in the game really changed the speed or turn mode. It should not. I know this is kind of a funny topic because there have been a lot of people that email and whatever saying like, oh, I love Kronk because he's the strongest. His punches are so much better. And I'm like, no, they're not. Like, there's technically all the characters in the game are the same. There is one caveat though, is that like they are all, the ragdoll simulations is like incorporated into the game, and some of them do have like wider arms or an extra little rigid body, but it's into it's that shouldn't make a big difference. It certainly wasn't designed to make a difference. So there might be some tiny physics simulation difference between the characters, but I don't think it adds up to anything substantial. So, but yeah, it's certainly not like one character has better speed or anything like that. And I know that's an interesting topic that comes up periodically. Like some people think it would be great if different characters had different attributes, stronger punches, faster speeds, and stuff like that. But I do feel like that would throw off balance, in different mini games. The fast character would just like always win the race mini games, or the strong character might always win, just the deathmatch mini games or something like that. So it kind of feels like that'd be a bad idea to specialize things like that. The other thing that comes up though is like I consider the characters to be like a blank slate, and so if we want to make a mini game where you pick between like different characters and they have different attributes, like an RPG or something, like that would be a fun mini game, I think. But I don't think that should be like enforced on the rest of the game, So if 1.8 drops, hoping to play Eon without downloading Eon. That kind of stuff is the goal. Like there's certain things, a lot of these total conversions like Eon, they change the UI and they do a lot of things like that too, which, stuff like a full-on total conversion like that might still require, downloading something separate. But the hope is that actually just playing like the Eon, game itself, like something like that should be possible with just asset packs. Like you join a right server and that would be like Eon games. So we'll have to see how it evolves. And maybe at some point there could be like asset packs that automatically get downloaded to change your UI or something like that. But we can't do like all of that because one thing that asset packs can't download is Python code, because you don't want to be downloading arbitrary Python code and running it on your local device, because that's obviously a security, huge security no-no. If someone is just sending you arbitrary code to run, obviously that can go very bad. So asset packs can't download code is the thing. In most cases, like if you're playing an Eon game, you're playing on a server though, and that server can already have the code, because that's how the game works. Is basically the server just needs Python code to like run all of its logic, and then the clients just see the results. So like I said, for the gameplay itself, asset packs should be enough. But if someone wants to completely redo the UI, you probably would still need to download stuff. But if it's easier for 99.9% of the people to jump into a server and play the game without getting the UI, that might be where more games go. So we'll see. It'll be it'll be fun to just see where this stuff goes in terms of like the ecosystem and who makes what and what becomes popular. I just want to make it possible to do that. Oh my god. I'll try to take a little time after this and hop into dev discussion and answer some questions. Like I said, I mean, I feel like I usually don't hop in here too much during the week. When I'm busy, I'm usually coding the whole time. And as I've said before, I am terrible at multitasking. So if I'm like trying to get coding done and then I'm on here like chatting with folks, my coding speed goes down to like 20%. So it's in everyone's best interest that I'm not on here too much. Any public API to get JSON dictionary of playlist from playlist code? I don't think there is. Like all that stuff that I consider like legacy, it's pretty rough. I mean, if you want to make an API to do that, I'd be open to adding that. Um, but yeah, it feels like the game kind of the old like the classic gameplay modes and stuff. Those kind of like evolved out of the swamp, and so there wasn't like a really central plan in terms of like, oh, how do you kick off a game and set up the session and this and that. It just kind of like it happened. So there's not always like a clean API to do it. Um, I wouldn't be opposed like if we cleaned it up and added an API, but I do intend on making it cleaner. I feel like anything I write now is much cleaner than stuff was originally because I'm trying to think about the future and think about it being expanded or people writing mini games and whatever and attaching to it. So I'm trying to be more hesitant about throwing code in there that's very specific to just get something up and running but isn't really thought through. I'm trying to like think through things more. But that being said, if we want to clean up old stuff and make them more thought through, that's fine too. But yeah, long story long is I don't think there's a clean function to do that. But if if you're down to help me make one or to make one, I'm open. Oh, really? That's cool. Well, the in this case with like Iran, because of just world politics and whatnot, like I don't think I'm allowed to sell it in Iran. So like I'm happy it's available there. Um, so yeah, and I know there are a lot of like Iranian players. A lot of my friends like are Iranian, like their families are from Iran. So like I'm all in favor of Iranian folks being able to play. But yeah, it's something I don't think I can support directly. So if at the moment, if it is on the market, I'm not too upset. I mean, I'm sure this is on markets all over the place or whatever. I need to like collect some stats. I remember having some stats where it was like a pretty substantial percentage of the game. It looked like it was from like non Google Play sources. So I don't know, people just distributing the APK. Hopefully, not too much of that is like hacked with viruses added and stuff. But it's like if there's people out there sharing the game, like that's great. Um, I feel like that's kind of one of the upsides of free to play is that's kind of like what the trade off is like you're getting a ton of people playing the game. Granted, maybe most of them don't buy anything or whatever, but it's like you're still getting a nice audience. So I feel like that's an upside. But yeah, that is a bummer. Yeah, sanctions and stuff. So certain countries that I am not able to sell to, but doing what I can. Character's name is Scoldy. That's kind of fun. Scoldy. Scoldy. I picture like a Scottish dude or something. Scoldy. Like mixed Scoldy. Be able to access textures in the mobile versions for better stylization on servers and mods. Well, it sounds like the asset package stuff will hopefully do the trick for you. I mean, that's the hope is to open up all versions equally so you can make stuff with new textures, new models, new characters, et cetera, without having to hack files and things or worry about like which texture format goes with which platform and silly stuff like that. Um, I am feeling very optimistic about 1.8 arriving soon-ish. Just because I got this big wedding celebration-y thing done with. That's been like this big shadow over my head for like months now. I knew that was coming up, and so there's a giant pile of stuff in my living room that still needs to be like put away and taken care of in some way from the party. But it's nice. There will be like a few months of just empty space ahead. I mean, like normal life kind of thing. So no more big upcoming events that feel like they're gonna slow me down and work and whatnot. So yeah, I'm super excited about getting 1.8 out the door. Is basically long story short. I heard back from Apple, which I am super happy about. For any of you following the drama, it's like my Apple version, the Mac App Store over it was getting rejected. And I was going back and forth with them trying to figure out why, and they would not tell me why. Or they told me why, but like I couldn't figure out what to do to fix it. And so I finally like wrote this like 2-page appeal like through their appeal process or whatever. And after 2 weeks, like they got back to me and they pointed at a specific file where apparently the problem is, which is a file that is built into Python itself, which is interesting. So I need to just, which also could make sense because that the version that got rejected was when I updated from Python 3.11 to 3.12. So maybe Python 3.12 added something that's using like an internal Apple URL that it's not supposed to. So I should be able to fix that, which I'm excited about. So that means I'm not worried about Apple like not wanting me on iPhone or anything like that. So that's another thing I want to do in the next few days is get that done. I also should probably ping the Python people themselves because like if other people are there's a lot of stuff out there that uses Python. So if Apple is going to be like rejecting all of anything using Python, I should probably warn them so they don't waste a week banging their heads against the wall like I did. What was the file doing in a few words? So Apple has like these internal URLs like itms:// which is like iTunes Media something or other, and so which I think they've used internally, but they've never officially declared them as public. So it would seem that they've added some sort of check when you upload stuff to their store that if they find itms:// whatever in any of your files, they'll reject you. And that seems to be what happens. There's an itms:// in a Python file that is included in Python itself. So that's what it looked like anyway. So I got to take a close look, and I'll just have to run a filter where like because I have to build my own version of Python for iPhone or for iOS and for Android. So I'll just have to run a little filter that strips out that particular thing. And like I said, I should probably warn Python people or warn Python itself if they want to take it out or put a warning in there because it's going to prevent anyone from using Python out of the box on Apple's platforms. Aww. But on that note, Apple rejecting me, it was actually kind of nice because they rejected a few weird little UI things too, which caused me to take some time to just clean those up. So there's some nice benefits of that where I think I showed you before where like on the Mac version you can now basically sign in through ballistica.net like without leaving the app. It just brings up a little like mini browser window that pops up over the game. So little quality of life improvements did happen as well. So at the end of the day, it's a good thing, but it was certainly frustrating, like wasting so much time or spending so much time trying to get that approved. And it's still not technically approved yet, but I believe I know exactly where the problem is, so it should be. So what are we looking at here? Oh, that's a long video. I know I've said this before, but I kind of love when folks go crazy with the character count or just stress testing this stuff. I'm always a little like wow, it held up. The engine didn't crash. Hooray! Oh my gosh. How crazy can this get? Wave 22. I don't even know like how far I've gotten on just like any of the built-in infinite onslaughts. My God. Holy moly. That is quite epic. Merp, merp, merp. Betrayed by my own rabbit. That's never good. It was funny. On a random side note, I got an email from someone in Germany who, way back in the day, I think on the Mac version before it was even on Android, they were like hosting Bomb Squad parties and stuff, and they like, I think I was helping them like mod it at the time, so they had this like heavily modded version of like Bomb Squad 1.3 or something super old. And so they emailed me a day or two ago and said they're planning on like having another big party, and friends from all over Germany are going to come in and play Bomb Squad 1.3 somewhere. But the problem they were having is my master server was like flagging that version as expired. So after 5 minutes, it would quit. So I went and like tinkered with the V1 master server. I guess that's some code I had removed. So I went and put that code back in. So it's now validating Bomb Squad 1.3, so that some folks in Germany can have a big party with like a 10-year-old version of Bomb Squad. It's probably like, actually that's probably 11 or 12 years old, because it's been out on Google Play since like 2013, and that was version 1.4. So yeah, this is like a 12 or 13-year-old version of Bomb Squad's gonna be getting some use this weekend. I hope it holds up. New way for us to make new maps, like intuitive creation engine. I'm hoping the asset package stuff will be a start for this. I would love for it to be easier. I mentioned before, like a goal of mine, an unofficial goal, is to be able to like build something on your tabletop and like scan it with your phone, and like you'd have a map, as all the AR and 3D scanning and all that stuff gets easier. I'm hoping something like that will be possible. Kind of like wrap it into an app that just automatically does that, or something like that. I know right now, I mean, I'm super impressed that people have done what they've done, like reverse engineered like the Bob file format and things like that. Not that they're too complicated, but the people who've like made asset mods up to this point, I salute you. That's quite impressive. That's a lot of like reverse engineering and putting things in place. So I definitely, my goal is to make all that stuff easier and easier. Step one will be the asset package stuff. So step one will be, at least you won't have to worry about texture formats and stuff. It'll just be like coming in here to workspaces and dragging a bunch of JPEG files and PNG files in here, and maybe filling some stuff out in here. We'll see. I hope to make this like very graphical too. So like you click on this and it'll be like options for, how high quality this thing gets compressed and stuff like that. Right now it just tells you like what the texture will be named. This tells you how much stuff is in the workspace and all that, but there should be more options. That's what this big blank space is for. Which basically everything will just be editing workspace.toml, which is where all like the metadata for the workspace lives. But you should be able to edit it through this UI, so you shouldn't have to like get in here and get your hands dirty with toml code. But if you want to, you can. I feel like it's always fun to have like those two ways to do things. One where it's like simple and point and click, and the other where it's like you get down and just like do things procedurally and bust out the text editor. So yeah, I mean, I like for people to be able to make mods and things like that. Just like take a character and like replace it with your own skin or your own meshes or something like that. Just have fun with stuff without having to get like hardcore into the Python. So yeah, that's part of 1.8 is, hopefully we will get some new characters and stuff. I want to make myself spend a little time making some new stuff, or hopefully if it's easier for other people, maybe we can, make some modders stuff available in the game itself or something like that. Or yeah, that whole thing will evolve. We want to see where it goes. I've mentioned before, I really want to lean on like the community aspect of Bomb Squad, just like people building cool stuff and being able to kind of share that. We'll have to see like what works best. I do want it to kind of still feel curated and not just be like a complete free for all, like something like Roblox. So yeah, we'll see what the process is. There might be some sort of like submit for approval or something like that, or like right now, if you make an asset package, you come in here. I mean, it's very early UI, but you come in here and make an asset package. There's a publish new test version, so there might be another button here where it's like submit for approval or submit for consideration to make it public, something like that. I need some way to filter out stuff that is going to get me in trouble with copyright holders. So I'm sure people are going to be making tons of tons of copyrighted characters and whatever. But as long as it's not like showing up in public servers and freely available to everyone, I feel like that's fine. Bandwidth IP address. For server owners, bandwidth IP address. You mean, so could you clarify what you're asking for here? Like server does it automatically and only by, you mean just like built-in IP-based banning? Which is something, yeah, we certainly could do anything like that. This is the V1 networking is also one of those things where it's pretty ugly, and I want to make it like a lot more usable in V2 or in whatever the scene V2 or whatever's kind of like it evolves into, where it's a lot more like based on Python. Right now, there's a lot of like what did I add recently? I added something where you can like specify IPv6 addresses for your server, or IPv4 and IPv6 addresses for your server. But oh my gosh, that was painful to do because it goes through like there's several places where it like goes into C++ and then that passes it to Python in some janky way, and then Python passes it to C++. So it's like it's going back and forth between those two layers like 4 times or something. It's just not pretty. So in the new world, it'll mostly stay in Python. Oh yeah, yeah. Some people do it, yeah, with manual IP tables and things like that. It would be cool to have like some of that functionality, but again, like part of the reason I haven't done more in the game is just because of that ugly, yeah, the existing system where it's spread throughout Python and C++. I really want to get more of it into Python, and then we can do more clean like filtering and customized IP based banning and things like that. Um, so it's one of those where it's like it's not that I don't want it, it's just that like I think there will be a good time to add it, which is not yet. Um, but that should be coming up soon. I want to give Bomb Squad Pro to people. Yeah. If you'd like to do that, just get in touch with me. If you want to just PayPal me, there's PayPal on my site. I can just send you a few codes that you can send to folks. Um, Lockjaw Dave, nice. I love it. See, that's why I want to get this asset stuff and scanning apps and whatever working. We need Lockjaw Dave in the game. I want to play against Lockjaw Dave. So I don't know about his like hammer thing. Like we might have to add like a hammer. Well, that's also something I want. I've mentioned this many times before. Is like I would love to have like melee weapons. Get a big like club or a hammer or something, swinging it around like Lord of the Rings style. Like, it plays epic music in the background. What's this guy's name, by the way? He's very cute. It almost feels like, well, no, I guess maybe he feels like the right scale. I was gonna say it almost feels like a smaller scale of character, but it's probably right. It's just because he's kind of chunky. London people don't bob, they stab. Yeah, Stab Squad. It'll just be like a little slight spin-off. Oh yeah, please feel free to if you want to make something inspired by Bomb Squad style or characters or whatever, feel free. I feel like that's something where I mean, so many games are inspired by other games, or I mean, half the stuff in Bomb Squad is inspired by movie characters or toys that I like or things like that. So, uh, yeah, I mean, unless you're copying like the exact likeness and names and stuff, you don't even need to ask my permission. I mean, I'd be flattered if you make something that's inspired by something in Bomb Squad. Valkyrie and Clash of Clans. I'll have to check that out. Scoldy. That's Scoldy. Oh, cool. Oh my gosh, that's so. I said, oh cool, like as you typed, oh cool. Creepy. So that's I feel like that's mostly my update for this last week. Um, so yeah, I'm really we'll have to see how it rolls out, but I'm really excited to have something substantially cool to show next week, or like I said, share with folks, or let people start messing with asset packages, and hopefully get them doing something in the game. So it's getting excitingly close to 1.8 land. I know there's everything always takes longer than I think, but you know it feels close. No, this is my cyber cup. So this coffee it's super warm. See, look, the little lights on. Look at that. It's heating. What's hype soccer? Do I know what hype soccer is? Is that a drink the coffee? Oh, happy happy you feel that way. Stuff related to the Bomb Squad soccer community? Not really. I mean, I've seen some, yeah, soccer mods and things that people have made. Like that would be cool to see more. Also, to like, oh yeah, oh is this. Oh yes, I like when it pops up on YouTube. Then we can not watch it in this tiny window or full screen. We can find a nice happy medium here. After the ad ends. Oh man, it's quite. This is some build up here. Super cool. Oh, nice. Oh. See, I love moments like that. Just like anything that can help create little like epic moments of random stuff happening. Super cool. Get some funny moments going in the background. Oh, whoops, sorry, I didn't see your turn up the volume note.
It was at this moment that he knew. He
Why are you running? Where's the football hype based? I probably should have noticed that. Oh, 300. Yeah, that's rough. It is always fun seeing these videos, like such like good production quality. I'm curious for like folks making these videos, do you guys like save replays and go back through them and record them that way? Or do you just like record when you're playing? Or like what does everyone do? Oh no. Record the replay? Okay, cool.
Bye, have a great time.
Hey, bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet. Oh.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead and yeah, mention it. All topics are welcome. Oh. I do hate when this happens, the little like flag through the floor thing. Oh, survived. That was good. Oh, really? Something cool? Huh. That brings up like interesting stuff that could be added is, you know, like some smarter replay system where it would, you know, divide the replays into the individual games that happen, or I don't know, something like that, instead of just having this one giant, you know, hour-long video you have to watch through, basically. Or I've always thought, you know, some games, you know, there's like the best moments, you know, it'd be cool to like show those during the end of the game or something like that, like using the replay system. I feel like there's so much that could be done with like kind of making the replay system fancier. It's fun to think about. What is this? Eric finishes seeing YouTube? Oh, yeah. I'm just... Feel free to keep posting stuff. I'm playing videos just kind of like on the side here, so we can keep chatting about stuff while they're playing. Oh, talk not. Okay. That sounds more serious. All right, I'll take a pause from videos. But well, oh no, is there? That's not a YouTube one. Cool. That would be interesting, like to embed the old game somehow in Bomb Squad, like embed Bomb Squad 0.6 in like Bomb Squad 2.1. All the best moments of versus Ebro. Oh no, it'll just be like me running off cliffs repeatedly while I'm like talking about something and not paying attention to the gameplay. That's disturbing. We do need a zombie character. I feel like that would be good. All right, what's everyone's like? What's everyone's vote for? What's the next character we need? Like, you know, just a generic like type of character. This is so disturbing. Old grandma? Okay. Like babushka or everyone has their like name for old grandma. Oh right, baby Pascal. We do need baby Pascal, but that's like an entirely different like type of character. I feel. It's like baby wars. It would be fun to just play as like this tiny little thing. Anyone can like pick it up and throw it like halfway across the screen. Like meh. Oh. Crunk with gym clothes. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I hope to do with 1.8, just because we'll be able to add downloadable stuff, and so it's not going to be. I know I mentioned this, probably half of you have heard this, but the reason I'm holding off to 1.8 to add new stuff is because it will be able to be downloaded, and I won't actually have to add it. Like, it won't increase the game's size, so that is good. Because right now, if I wanted to add like fun variations, you know, every one of those is going to be more textures and whatever included in the game, and it is useful to keep it small just so people can get it and jump in quickly. So I'd prefer to keep the game itself as small as possible. But it would be awesome to have like gym clothes Kronk. That should be the first thing I add, like the first variation, gym clothes Kronk. What would be some other variations? All right, any ideas? Like, what would you like to see? What would be a fun variation of a character? Like, obviously, Bernard could have a variety of ties or something like that. Ooh, Spaz without helmet. Oh, man. I'd have to think about what he looks like. That could be interesting, though. As a bit of trivia, Spaz was very roughly based on, you know, the like Space Marine dudes from Starship Troopers, which is like my favorite movie ever. You know, it's very, very, very loosely inspired by that. Pixie with cat ears? Okay, or Pixel, yeah. An Eric character. It would be... Yeah, Spaz without his helmet is just me. No, that would be fun. Make a me character sometime. Just be like, I don't know. Is there something I say a lot at these, like howdy folks or something? That'd just be like what I say for all actions. Yeah, my big question, like, what kind of hair does he have? Is he like short hair? What color? I don't know. Lots of things to think about. He's obsessed with Spaz, really? But he's like the default. You can't be. I mean, you can be obsessed with the default, but it reminds me of playing the original Halo 1 back in the day. Like there was a weird. wasn't even a glitch in Halo 1, but if any of you played that, like the standard like pistol weapon that they start you with, it was actually like insanely accurate if you like practiced with it well. So like I had a friend who just like dominated with that stupid pistol. Like he could just nail you from across the map. It was like better than the sniper rifle. So in some cases, default stuff is the best. All right, cool stuff. All right, gotta share the love for videos. What is?
Salud es tener quien me cuide desde lejos, quien me haga suspirar y me ayude a respirar.
Oh, can you tell a difference, like with Spaz versus other ones in football? Like I said, none of the characters should have substantially different physics, but there is always a chance that's, you know, barely noticeable, maybe, just because of like how wide their arms are or something like that. Oh yeah. Hey, I'm kind of just half watching this. So, like, oh, advertisements, yay. Yeah, why am I getting ads in Spanish? Yeah, if I show other people's ads like in videos on my video, does it count for, do I get a part of that? All right. Get some more Spanish ads. No. What apps are like? What do you all use to make videos? Like what editors and apps and whatever? I'm curious. I haven't actually like checked out like what is good for that kind of stuff lately. What? What's happening? I'm so confused. RGB 0 to 1. Add opacity directly to the color code. Yeah, that was one of those things where I don't think it was specifically designed. I probably just added like 3 RGB values to something, and then later, like some things have opacity, some things don't. Yeah, it would maybe be better to just expose 4 and just give you a control over opacity. That's a good point. Yeah, there's probably some places where it expects 4 or allows to have 4. Like I said, one of those things where it's not specifically necessarily designed that way. It's just kind of how it evolved. So maybe for the next revision, we could do it in a better way. So I'd assume you guys would prefer having just RGBA values instead of having like RGB and then a special like alpha or opacity separate value. Okay. It could depend on the thing too. I mean, some things like shouldn't like reasonably support opacity. I don't know what those would be. Like I wouldn't want to like always support RGBA and then you can plug in opacity where it's not intended and like kind of break the game or break the visuals a bit. Um, like I don't know if you noticed, if you hack around with like UI textures, there's like a lot of the windows, like the UI windows and stuff, they're actually drawn in two different pieces. There's like an opaque piece and a transparent piece. And that, I can probably rip some of that out. The reason I did that is because it's a lot more efficient to draw opaque stuff for various reasons. So I had it drawing as much as it could opaque and then like the little edges transparent. My evil cup. But yeah, the downside of that is then if you wanted to like change the windows to be all transparent or something, it's gonna probably do weird things because it's expecting part of them to be opaque and part of them to be transparent right now. So if we changed it to something where it didn't have those expectations, then it would open the door for some, you know, partially transparent windows and things like that. And that's probably a change that would be reasonable at this point. A lot of this was it was just crazy optimizations to try to make this run decently on like 2011 era phone hardware, which was a whole heck of a lot weaker than what's out there now. I would be curious, like the weakest phone out there now, just to see how well it runs the game, or you know, like the weakest phone that people could be expected to have, like how far we could push the graphics and still be fine. I'm sure it's a lot farther than the game's actually doing. Cool stuff. All right, I'll. Whoa. Oh no. Oh, well, that works. Chupa El Perro server. Is that a good or bad server? It's a fun name. Yeah, I am kind of a. I don't know. Do any of you guys, if you're playing the game on Android for a long time, does it ever? Do you guys get slowdowns or anything, or would you say there's room to crank up graphics quality and stuff a lot at this point, or should it intentionally remain like lightweight? Any preferences? Oh, whoops. Let me. That's so cool. I love that people get like stuff coordinated that well and all that. I mean, I know the game is like physicsy and loopy and randomish and stuff, but it's awesome to see something come together with some like coordination there. All right. Has anyone said anything that I didn't respond to? If so, feel free to post it again. Not trying to ignore anybody. It's just like when things get coming fast and furious, I just miss stuff. Oh, don't worry if you don't feel like a good artist. I mean, that's kind of the art style of the game is to look like it's not good art, you know, in a way. Just it's supposed to look like a kid slapping stuff together out of clay and blocks and, you know, just having fun. So hopefully that like yeah, opens it up to people who don't feel like they're amazing artists or something. So, you know, you got to kind of intentionally make your stuff kind of look crappy. So if you feel like your stuff is that way anyway, it fits right in. Problem with servers. One person was selling virtual slots for cheap, creating problems for other players. Huh. Was this like on their own servers, or were they doing something where it would like clog other servers? Like, do you know? Because if it's on their own servers, that's a bummer, but that's kind of something I can't protect against too much. But if people are like attacking public servers or trying to prevent other people from getting to them, that's a different story. Aw. Thank you, Rockalo Kevin. I love you too. You poo. I love you poo. Oh, flags, more flags, more flags. Yes, this might come at the same time as. Hopefully, this will be another like 1.8 related thing where kind of the same idea of like that'll open up the ability to add more things. Not that flags and stuff are high res or anything like that, but yeah, we'll see what 1.8 does. I would like to. I know there's a number of flags people have requested that we don't have. It would be cool. I don't know, to be able to do more with stuff like that, like flags and things too. I don't know, like if you could actually like use your country flag on a flag in the game somehow or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think like what would be a good way to support that. Oh sure, yeah. If you'd like to hop on and say some stuff. Yeah, I don't really have like a policy with who talks or whatever, but I guess the basic policy is like if you have something you want to say or talk about, just ping me, um, or yeah, ask permission or whatever, and I'm happy to accept. Well, depending on what you want to say. Yo,
Yeah, hello.
hello. How's it
Y-
going?
you added this new feature of demo when idle, right?
Oh, the demo, like when it, yeah, demo on idle. Is that working for you or doing weird things?
Yeah, it's working perfectly, but it has a few problems.
Okay. Like what?
So in when you come out of idle, it goes to the tab which has been like selected before. Like
Oh,
it's a
okay.
stress test, right? So
Yeah.
I've already fixed one. When you go from the when you start a stress test by yourself
Uh huh.
and you come back, it goes to the main menu or gather or something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have fixed that and made it well looked super.
Okay, so it goes back to the right place then. I know that's kind of a explicit thing where yeah, it has to be like stored and then restored. So that yeah, that's cool. So is that
Right,
a
so
you fixed it? Do you
like
have like a
as
PR or something or?
no, not PR yet. I have to make that.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, I'd be happy to
So
get that
for
in.
so for the chat is very disturbing.
Yeah, it's I don't even know where it's going. What's happening? But yeah. So much stuff. There's me and McDonald's. But yeah, I'll take some time for the PRs that are there. I'll try to take some time after coffee today and pull some stuff in.
Yeah, can I stream and show what happens normally?
Oh sure, sure. I'll end my stream and feel free. All right, everyone, hop on the new stream. Yeah, that is interesting why it doesn't let two people stream. That would be kind of useful potentially.
Yeah, can you see the stream?
Yeah, I can see it. Hopefully everyone else can too.
Yeah. So normally when you open the game and let it idle, See, now it's in the play window,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to let it idle.
All right.
Mm,
I forgot what is the time on the idle? Is it like 30 seconds or something? I don't remember what it was set at. There it goes.
yeah, so if I come back, see, it's on the main menu.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
It's
not good.
not on the play.
Okay, yeah, that would be great
But
if we could fix that. That
if
would
I
be good.
if I select gather and go here, now if I idle out, it'll go to the gather window.
Okay,
Let's see.
that's
Now I'm in the account window. I'm letting it idle.
If I recall, there's something where like certain windows they basically save the location, and then it'll
Yeah.
restore that. So maybe
Now if I start it,
yeah.
it's in the gather window.
Okay, so maybe it's not. Yeah,
So
it's probably not saving the location when you come back out to the main menu, I guess, or would have to. Have you seen like what's happening?
Yeah, I have it. It's this function
Yeah.
right here. It only checks for gather, watch, team game select, and free for all. Go
Okay.
select and last benchmarks and stress test.
Okay.
Oh, if nothing else works, it's goes straight to main menu.
Yeah, that sounds right. So I guess we just need to add a few more locations, probably.
Yeah, I added this one to make this. I made it this small fix. Hopefully it works.
Okay.
It can be added. This is a window that I have made.
Cool.
Like I'm going to let it idle here. Just let's see what happens. It should open secret settings again instead of going back to main menu or gather.
Okay. So is that like registering a location for secret settings, like a string, or is that doing something like saving a class or like an arbitrary thing?
See,
Cool.
It's opening secret settings again.
All right.
Like I saved the BIUN window
Okay.
instead of str. Here instead of set in the set main menu location function, I set the class instead of the string. And it directly calls the class.
Okay. Interesting. I'm wondering if there is some like some corner cases where there's like classes that expect. So does it instantiate the class again, or does it actually like save the same instance?
It starts a new class.
A new class. Okay.
New window.
Okay. The one thing I wonder if we'll have to watch out for is like if there's some windows that expect to have parameters.
Input.
Yeah, like if it'll crash in those cases, or if there's some case we could like whitelist or blacklist windows, so it knows which ones to not do that for or something, or we could just give defaults to all the windows. That's another option.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, cool concept though.
Yeah, that was it.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Should be back, I believe. What kind of cup will it be today? It's still I feel bad, but my cup for so long has just been my cyber cup here. It's just so convenient, always having my coffee at a predictable temperature. But it does make it way less interesting. It's like coffee with Eric in boring cup. Oh, hooray! Yay! Yeah, we didn't really go into this. Like who likes the new look, who doesn't. If anyone has any, one thing if you run into any like problems, if something is not working or doesn't show up right on your browser or whatever, please let me know. I know there's some goofy things, like for me this gets cut off, but most people don't have this like debug menu here, so I don't mind that. But yeah, I just I tried to give it this silly font, tried to make it look a little kind of fun and video gamey. But yeah, let me know if you don't like it. And at some point we can do themes. So if you don't like it, we can go back to like a really vanilla looking one or whatever. So yeah. I love you, Father. Yeah, simple is good. I agree with you there, partly. So I know, yeah, simple is more of a, the modern style for websites and stuff like that. I was just kind of, like I said, it's kind of like Bomb Squad itself, where it's like I kind of enjoy the fun little skeuomorphic look sometimes, or getting a little weird with things. But again, it's all CSS code, so it should be pretty easy. I just need to wire it up like the theming engine to where basically there's a user control to switch between stuff. And then I'd like to maybe just have like maybe this would be the default, but if you prefer a simple look, then we could add one of those. It'd be great to make it like user customizable too, so then people could just like go to town. It's not actually that many CSS variables. I mean, if you could probably hack around with it on your local system if you wanted. Let's see. So yeah, here's the CSS stuff. It's basically like, essentially like, yeah, like 1 to 1.5 pages of just color values and things like that. Here's the one for dark mode. So there's a whole separate set of stuff. So I want to just have this be where that we can just define a number of different themes or whatever. So they could be like the default ones with the default font, or a simple shrunk one with a simple font or whatever. So anyway. What?
Hola, ¿qué tal amigos de YouTube? Hoy vengo con un nuevo video de momentos divertidos, ya que sé que les gusta esta madre. También pienso subir un contenido más
This is
variado.
amazing.
También decirles que el resto del mes me dejaré este gorrito.
Oye, Bindu. ¿No se te estará olvidando dar los saludos?
Un saludo muy especial para Zeus, David, Topito, Filón y Pamperrón. Obviamente no los voy a dejar así, ya que la imagen no se veía muy bien XD.
I know, this is like, yeah, that animation was
Un abrazo
awesome.
a todos.
That had to have taken some time. Oh no, more Mr. Penguin. Yeah, really taking it up the notch with the actual like stop motion animation. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, boy.
That is a lot of people. Yeah, I do hear a lot about false kickers. Is there a consensus about like what would be a better defaults to reduce that problem, or? Oh, I mean, I don't think it's normal behavior. I would love to not have that happen. I'm just curious, like, what would be, like, is there a consensus, like, what we should do to fix it? Oh, yeah, Bomb Squad is super old. I mean, the network playable version is, like, 2013. That was, like, 1.4. That was when came out on Android and became, NetPlay became a thing. But Bomb Squad itself was on the Mac App Store from 2011, I believe. And then my internal janky versions that I just played with friends and family, those go back to 2004. So it's old. Like Bomb Squad's old enough to like buy alcohol in most countries.
¡Qué pendejo, güey! ¡Ya! ¡Pinche vato! ¡Qué nada, güey!
Yeah, boy.
Oh, sorry, some confusion happening here. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of removing kick vote. I'm just wondering, like, is there something that would cause less spam to happen, or is there something that makes it too easy to exploit? So, cool stuff. Well, especially big salute to this part. I love it. Hello, Super Jorik. Like, I feel like a button-based kicking system would... I feel like that's the first thing I'd want to get in there, too. I'm sorry about the janky typing-based one that's been there forever. But yeah, I do love that penguin. I guess, yeah, at this point, it's one of those things where, yeah, people get so used to the way it is, even if it's not optimal, that if I were to change it tomorrow, people would probably be like, bring back 01. That is, I was thinking about that just with the website thing. You know, I fully support everyone having opinions. You know, if you don't like the look of the website, that's totally fine. Like I said, hopefully we'll have themes or something, so if people want the simpler old one back, they can. But it also got me thinking that, you know, I feel like we all feel this way, where if something changes, it's immediately like, ew, it looks different, I don't like it. But sometimes, at least for me, I try to give myself like a week to, you know, sit on something and see if it still feels bad. And if it still feels bad, that's a good sign that it's actually bad. But sometimes it's just because it's like something's new, it just seems bad, but then a week later it seems fine. So it's just one of those weird, like, human things. It's hard to distinguish between those sometimes. I hear you. It is like a little bit bigger. The font itself is a bit bigger. Which it was pretty small before, so I didn't know if it was like too small, because a lot of websites have larger fonts. So I don't know. I'm going back and forth between, because I generally have all my fonts very small on all my stuff, but I don't want to give people eye strain or something too, or like have tiny fonts if it looks bad for other people. Do you like Bomb Squat? No, I hate it. No, is Bomb Squat a thing, or are you just being Bomb Squad? Well, again, though, one thing, I was also kind of using it as an excuse to revise some of the website so that it handles like fonts that are too big. So just things like, just to show you like my own little fleet section here. So getting things wired up so, you know, things are more responsive. Some things disappear as it gets smaller, or like these individual parts have like horizontal scrolling now just because the font is a little wider and doesn't always fit. So like I said, if you see something like that where there's a page where stuff is like overflowing or just doesn't look nice, like, please let me know. I'd like to clean that up. Or I think, let's see, another place was, I think, in account settings, manage linking. This part used to be like super jank, but now it's like it should be scrollable if things are you know, too big, stuff like that. Or like these controls, they do their weird little like flowy loopy thing where they should be fitting into the space better. So anyway, so yeah, I was like I said, I was having a little fun with the website, trying to kind of learn some of that stuff and just make it work a bit better with big or small fonts or whatever. Submarines. Oh, actually, that reminds me. Like, have I updated the submarine page? Some of these pages I have to like explicitly go back and... Oh, I guess I did. There's a little bit of a... Does it Is it scrollable? Yes. Okay, I guess I got it. All right. So if you're viewing submarines on a small screen, you should be able to scroll now. But how are we doing on... Do we have any submarines? Oh, there we go. Just off Madagascar. Not too much else. Maybe maybe that's one off of India there. Hard to tell. Nothing out in the Pacific. Oh, there's someone playing in Hawaii. Cool. No one playing in New Zealand. Oh. Or in Japan. Oh. Yeah, that's right. New people are like, submarines? What the heck are you talking about? So for anyone who's newish here, this is like this inside joke where we were wondering like, why are there these dots on the map like out in the middle of the ocean? Because the dots are supposed to be like, it estimates based on IP addresses like where people are playing from, and so sometimes it's just like randomly in the middle of the ocean. So we assume it must be a submarine. You know, there's clearly no other logical explanation. Maybe? Oh, that's right. Oh, that's where I just was. Let's go back to the submarine page. Submarine scanner. So yeah, the submarine page should be. It's not accessible from the site, but if you type it in, it's just ballistica.net/submarines, you should all have access to submarines. It's important for everyone to know where the submarines are. It should be accessible. Can you guys access it? If anyone, can you try? I should have flipped it to be public. Like I said, it is kind of an Easter egg. It's not listed places, but it should be public. Working. Hooray! Okay. Yeah, this is... I mean, this kind of goes in with the 1.8 stuff. Like, I would love more... Well, it does and it doesn't. Like, things like hats and stuff, that would be awesome. But I also wonder... you know, if it's best to keep it... Yeah, that could be a submarine. I think that's the Madagascar one. But yeah, in terms of like hats and stuff, it could be awesome, but I also wonder if it's best to keep it like complete different skins or variations. You know, like we're talking about like Kronk with, you know, like a wife beater or a gym shirt or something like that. Just because if you have a system where it's like every character could have a variety of hats, like in a way that's cool, because then you can just like pick a character, pick a hat, etc. But it's also kind of limiting in that like every character then needs to support wearing a hat, which might, you know, limit the kind of characters. Or you know, like the Easter Bunny, he's got ears up there, so it might not look right with a hat or something. Or characters with like helmets, you know, would they be able to wear hats? I don't know. It's all this question of like how generic do you make the customization, or do you just have like a few different skins per character that have like slight different outfits? Oh no, I'm sorry if I missed suggestions. Or there could be some set, like you buy a hat and then some characters can wear the hat. I don't know. It's hard to know like how to... It would be good to... I want to get all this stuff in there because I mentioned before, like for the monetization on the game, I want it to be more based on stuff like that, like unlocking, you know, cool visual stuff like fun hats and skins and things like that. And I want to take out as much of... you know, stuff that's in there now that like it locks away functionality behind, you know, Pro. Like I'd like to lessen some of that. Like I want people to be able to play and have fun, and then, you know, if you want your character to look unique, like that can be a nice thing to pay for or something. You know, got to pay the server bills somehow. But I definitely don't want to make the game like pay to win, and I don't want to make the game like locking a ton of fun stuff behind a paywall. So that's why it seems like cosmetic stuff is a good way to go, generally. And probably like some timer annoyances too. Like, you know, you earn stuff from playing multiplayer games and then, you know, you gotta wait to unlock the prize from that or something like that. It's annoying, but I think effective. So, almost everywhere, except for iPhones, sorry. I mean, hopefully with 2.0, hopefully that'll be hitting a lot more platforms too. Yeah, there's like that's kind of yeah. If you haven't read the roadmap, I mean, roadmap Siegel will yell at me now probably, but basically, yeah, 1.8 is all about the asset packages, so making it easier to add skins and maps and characters and stuff like that. And then 1.9 will be all about the squad system, just making it so you can invite your friends to your squad and take on other squads, and matchmaking just happens, kind of getting it up to like a modern multiplayer standard. Right now it feels very like 1990s PC game where there's a list of servers you gotta go through. So yeah, that's the big feature of 1.9, and then 2.0 will simply be polishing things up and just releasing on multiple platforms. So I'm very excited to get there. I'd love to get the game out on Steam and on iOS, and it'd be super cool to get it on consoles then after that. Like, I know that it's supposed to be like the Switch 2 or something is supposed to be announced soon, or the next whatever Nintendo's next thing is. Even the first Switch would be great, just because it's a low powered console, but like the game doesn't need a lot of power. But any other console too. I don't know. So much fun stuff to do. So little time. Did you make programs games before making Bomb Squad? I did a lot of coding for when I was at Pixar. I did Bomb Squad. I started Bomb Squad before I worked at Pixar. So I did a lot of coding just for fun on the side, like when I was at art school. So I've always liked art and whatnot, but I've also always liked coding and tech and stuff like that. So I had this like choice of when I went to college, like, do I want to do the art route or do I want to do like the coding or the computer science route? So I went to I did the art school route, which was a lot of fun. Learned a lot of good visual stuff there. But yeah, then like pretty much all my coding was self-taught while I was doing artsy stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I just probably learned on my own that I learned really badly and made a lot of mistakes. There's still some of those in the game, just like really poorly engineered bits, but slowly but surely I'm replacing them all. But yeah, I had kind of other little mini game projects and things that I was working on before Bomb Squad, like when I was in college. I was actually trying to like write an engine, so I came at it from that perspective where it's like, oh, I'm gonna make this little engine and then maybe people will make a game out of it. But that was a terrible perspective. I learned that like if you've never made a game, like don't try to make an engine because you won't know like what you need to make the game. I mean, right now it's an even worse idea these days. Like if you're starting off with making games and stuff, it's probably makes very little sense to not use one of the existing engines out there. Though it is possible, like to write your own if you really enjoy that, or you're doing something simple. I was at Game Developer Conference (GDC) a few months ago, and there was one guy. He was one of like the simulation leads for one of the Sims games or something. So he seemed like really knew his stuff. But his whole talk was like, it's okay to make your own engine. And so I was happy to see that. So it's like there are other people out there that feel like you can write an engine or just write a game without an engine. It's just you gotta don't be too ambitious with it and think you're gonna like write the next Unreal engine or something like that. Like I love Bomb Squad's little janky little engine because I know it inside and out and I can make it do whatever I need it to do, I feel. But it is, clearly not as advanced as the fancy engines out there. But it's also cheaper because I wrote it myself. So like when they I don't know if any of you heard about like Unity changed their pricing scheme a few months ago, and made it like you had to pay per install, and that really like ticked off a bunch of developers. I think a lot of them like left Unity after that. But that's another slightly nice thing about kind of like writing your own little janky engine is that like you don't have to worry about stuff like that coming and like screwing you over financially or something. So anyway, sorry I've been rambling. I've probably missed about 35 questions here. But anyway, yeah, I tinkered around making an engine. At some point I realized that wasn't a good thing to do, and then Bomb Squad started as like literally like a weekend project. Just like, I'm going to forget this whole engine. I'm just going to like write this simple little thing. I'm going to make like a Bomberman clone. I'm going to spend a few days on it and get something playable. And I actually did get something playable pretty quickly. And so I feel like that's the way to go, is just like do something really simple, really, really, unambitious, get something playable, and then, add to it from there. As opposed to like making this plan that's going to take a bajillion years and like you'd never finish it. But you got to like stay inspired too, you know, like making something that you can play, that you can like see and have fun with. Like I feel like that's very inspiring. And so since I released Bomb Squad, like it's been like that. It's been like seeing people playing the game and like all this crazy modding people do and stuff like that. Like that stuff is super inspiring. So it keeps me working towards this these future goals. But when you're just starting off, like it can be daunting, you know. How old is this photo? Oh, this photo is probably 2005 or 6, I'm gonna guess. Yeah, this is the original Spaz. This is my AOL Instant Messenger stuff. You can tell this is like the old style Mac UI. Probably for about 2006, I'd say. So yeah. So that was a pretty early version of Bomb Squad. I had way too much depth of field going on. I was very proud of my depth of field setup, so I cranked it way too high, but I thought it looked cool for photos. Dang. Signing players. That's cool. Okay, now I can hear. That's good. I was going to say, I would assume it's your setup. I assume everyone else can hear me. Unless they've been sitting here in silence for an hour and a half. What is going on? Weird, like Tron graphics. Whoa. Oh man, that's kind of I shouldn't say depressing. I mean, it's funny. I'm in my 40s now, which is insane. It's like old people are in their 40s. But yeah, time freaking flies. But yeah, it is so. It is always funny to hear people saying like, "Oh, I love Bomb Squad. It was my favorite game when I was a kid." It just makes me feel old. But I am old, so it works. But yeah, that was version. It was version like 0.6 or something. I had like a versioning system, but I didn't hit. I hit 1.0 when I released it on the Mac App Store. So the timing was actually pretty good. So it was like it was like a pre-release for 6 years. 0.6. I think I maybe got up to like 0.8, and then from there I went straight to like 1.0. See if we got any new submarines. Nope. Shucks. Oh, thank you, Super Jork. Did I say something important? No, I haven't said anything super important. I feel like this whole time, all of today. This is definitely one of those. I mean, it's fun to have just like the random chat about random stuff days, but yeah, I haven't had too much important stuff to show. Like I said, I'm really excited. I'm hoping next week will be more of a fun day, with hopefully can do like a little demo of the asset package stuff, even if it's limited in some way. I can't wait to get to that point where it's just like, hey, I have this look, I'm going to scribble on this thing and poke this button and it's going to just go through the website and now I launch the game and look, it's in the game. So I just want that loop to be as fast as possible. And I wanted, the first thing I want to do is use that for all my stuff. I think I mentioned is like, I want to replace all the assets in the game with asset package based stuff. It'll be like a slight different form of it where basically you'll be able to tell the game like when it's building the game like, hey, use these asset packages as like built-in stuff. So there'll be kind of two things you can do with asset packages. You can like build your own game when like replace or whatever the assets with some asset packages. So that'll be fun if people want to do their own total conversion. Or there'll be like downloading on the fly asset packages, and that'll be a separate thing. So there'll kind of be two purposes for them. And the first thing I want to do is like replace my janky 20-year-old asset pipeline with asset packages. So that'll be good. Oh, well, welcome to coffee time. This hasn't been a super exciting one. We should sometimes we get games going and other things. We haven't done that in a bit. We'll have to get back to that here soon. Click on the hand icon. Oh, cool. Well, happy you think so, or happy you feel that it is. I'm not saying it's not, but yeah. Oh. Oh, now everyone's. Oh man. No, I should go back to being more just like free for all with like, hey, you want to speak? I'm gonna hit invite. Um, I was pretty good versus the built-in bots when I was first coding stuff. So around 2011, I was pretty good against bots. Um, I've probably never been good against people though. I just haven't played, or against like good people. Been good against like my friends and family who've played the game a few times. But yeah, I did. That was super awesome. That would be fun to play with. I'd love to. Like that would be fun to. In general, AI stuff is like I'd love to get into that and nerd out with AI stuff. It's such like an exciting, rapidly advancing field, but at the same time, I feel like it almost would be too much fun. I feel like I'd get sucked in and just want to do that stuff now or whatever. So I'm trying to like temper myself and not get into that. I did originally easy mode. There's some trivia. Easy mode didn't exist originally, but I was looking at statistics of like how many people got to like the second level, and it was pathetically low. So like whatever is hard mode now, that was like the only mode at some point. And so it seemed like, granted, I know most people probably download the game and play it for 10 minutes and then do something else because it's not for everyone and the controls are kind of awkward with the touchscreen. But still, I was just saying that like nobody was getting very far in the game on the single player. So at some point, then I made easy mode to try to help with that, and it did help. So some people were able to get at least like a few levels in. Um, but yeah, it is. I guess that's a good thing. There's like a huge kind of skill range. If you've never played the game and you don't really get the physics or whatever, it's like people just die on the first bot. Oh, squad. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it'd be fun to check that out. I'm a little worried when it gets to the point where like people can write bots that like scan their screen and like play for them, you know. Then like I'm gonna have like that would be the one like cheating that we'd have to worry about with servers is people connecting and having like connecting as bots basically. Because like right now we have bots that are like coded in Python, but they have to be running on the server. So it's like it'll be interesting when we have bots that are basically able to just like act as a client and connect to a server. And then it's like, how do we stop that? That's true. Yeah, it'll be bots hosting games and bots connecting to those games. I do wonder how much of that is true. Dead internet theory. I do wonder with like yeah, how much of the internet is just bots talking to bots. Se llama Scordy. All right, so we're about got about 5 minutes left. So if anyone has any last topics you want to bring up, we can chat about. Also, we need a title for this week's episode for YouTube. So what have been some important plot points here? 1.8. That was the title last time, I think. We'll just have 1.8 soon until 1.8 is out. That'll be the thing. It's like, why are there like 4 1.8 soon videos? Oh, soon. That is. Oh yeah, like last week was 1.8 when. So yeah, this week could be 1.8 soon. Next time will hopefully be, or very soon will hopefully be 1.8 now. So see, it's like a gradual transition. I like it. I mean, I should be pretty open this week, this and next week, for getting work done. Like I said, no more big parties to plan, things like that, which is good. So just coding. Yes, exactly. This cup is empty. I'm crying a little bit off screen when you're not looking. No, I never forget to pour coffee into a cup. I love me some coffee. Game Theory Bomb Squad video. Coffee not over yet. We got like 3 minutes. And I mean, we can run over a few minutes or something like that. It's not that strict. I'm just usually aim for 2 hours. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Super Jork. Though again, I don't. Well, we'll see when 2.0 happens. Like, I don't know how much I plan on like promoting it. It's more just like trying to. If I feel like if I release on iOS and release on Steam, hopefully it would get featured or something in one of those places, or maybe get featured on Google Play at that point again. It hasn't been in quite a while, though. I haven't reached out to my Google contacts and stuff, so I probably could ping someone and be like, hey, I got this big thing coming up. I probably should do that. Aw, see there's that comments I'm talking about. People saying like, "Oh, your game is my childhood," or "I loved your game growing up" and stuff, which is super heartwarming and super awesome, and also makes me feel old. But it is, I mean, honestly, yeah. The point it is like started writing the thing in 2004, so yeah, it's 20 years. That's weird. There's a few nagging little bits I need to get in there before I launch on like Steam. It still doesn't it doesn't display international characters. So if you're playing in any like Chinese or any character system beyond I think we have like Cyrillic and standard alphabet in there. So anything beyond that won't show up right on like the Steam version or the Linux version or anything like that, or the Windows version or the Linux version. So need to get that in there. That's one of those. It shouldn't take too long, but it's been on the to-do list for a while. So I need to get that in there before we launch on Steam. I don't want like half the people to not be seeing what half the people are saying and stuff. Aw. So yeah, hoping to get more of those same style stuff. I mean, I definitely want to evolve the game. It'd be fun to I don't know, experiment with it more, have more styles of play in there, things like that. But I definitely want to keep the same style, just the kind of clay building blocks, fun, goofy stuff on a tabletop sort of thing. So, yeah, it is. I mean, it does surprise me that it was originally supposed to just be for friends and family. Like um, it was kind of something to keep me busy because I was just graduated art school and I was applying to different effects studios and places like that. And I was also working on my like visual effects portfolio, doing some animation and things like that. And so in my spare time, this was just something to keep me busy and out of trouble and off the streets. So um, I don't remember how much it was. It was just like a few months when I was just working on Bomb Squad, early Bomb Squad, a fair amount. And plus also just like being at that right age and having a ton of friends who could come and just hang out and play games easily. Now it's like I'm getting older and a lot of my friends have like kids and they're moved away and stuff like that. So it's unfortunately harder to get like a group together in person. But that's also a good inspiration to get the darn thing working online better. So, which is squad system. Oh, did I miss something? What is this? What changes new version have? Are you asking about like 1.8 here? Oh man, we're after 12. Okay, let me scan through and do any last stuff here. No, I mean it kind of is intended to be that. Like I've intended Bomb Squad to be kind of a mishmash of some of the games I like. You know, it was uh, at the time we were playing a lot of like Halo with friends. Like we get like 16 players over at our apartment, me and my roommates, and we get like 4 TVs hooked up and play tons of Halo with like, capture the flag and different mini game styles. And so it was something like some of the game styles were like capturing little fun concepts from there, or yeah, bits of Bomberman or bits of Mario Party, or you know, just kind of making a fun physicsy mishmash of games that I liked. So, any cut characters? Um, in the original one, like the pre-release one, before I intended to release the game publicly, like there were a lot of just celebrity characters and you know stuff like that in there that were it was just kind of funny inside jokes with me and my friends. So you can play as like Maximus from Gladiator, stuff like that, or Samuel L. Jackson. Uh, yeah, it was dumb. Hopefully, if the game gets popular enough, if 2.0 splat makes a big splash, maybe we can do some like licensing deals. That would be super awesome. That'd be like a weird, stupid dream to like license the actual characters that were in the unofficial one back in the day. That'd be awesome to play as like Maximus from Gladiator. um, what type of clay do you use? Like plasticine? It's just that oil-based clay that never dries. So, um, and that's an interesting note is that originally I started off by using colored plasticine, so like different colors for the different parts of the characters, but I transitioned to just using gray for everything at some point. It was a lot easier to like do the coloring in Photoshop, especially since, you know, characters need to be able to be different colors anyway, so it's like they can't have like a hard-coded color. Plus it's just like working with different colors of clay, it just like it gets messy and the colors get like murky and it's hard to keep them kind of separate anyway. So for this purpose, it was, you know, I found it much better to just make everything gray. So cool. All right, well, we should probably wrap up then. If no one else, or if anyone has any last comments. It's been fun. It's been fun chatting with you all as always. I'm also very excited to get back to work here. Yesterday I was just like, we had the weekend crazy wedding thing, and then we drove back on Monday, and yesterday I was just like dead still. So I'm finally feeling kind of awake, and my brain feels like it works today. So I'm excited to make some good progress on finishing up asset packages and 1.8 and all that stuff. So. Well, thank you all for coming and chatting and asking questions and showing a bunch of crazy videos. um, so yeah, and I'll hang around on here. I'm going to try to zip through some of the stuff in dev discussions and things like that. So yeah, I'll be hanging in dev discussion for a bit. So anyway, it's been fun all. Thanks for coming and hanging out, and I will see you all next week. So peace out.